You rake the leaves. You pile them up. You water them. You even turn them once or twice. And then you wait. A week goes by, then 2, then a month. And that pile is still sitting there. Maybe darker, maybe wetter, but not soil. Just a heavy, damp mass that feels stuck. If you have ever tried to turn leaves into compost, you know this feeling. You step outside early in the morning, the air is cold, the grass is still wet, and there it is, that same pile, pressed down, clumped together, smelling slightly sour, but not alive, not rich, not crumbly, not what you were expecting. You did what everyone tells you to do. You didn't throw them away, you kept them. You tried to do it right. Maybe you even added water more than once. Maybe you thought, it just needs more time. So you wait longer, and nothing really changes. It feels like the right thing to do. You think you are helping the process, but the system reacts like you never even started it. Look at a forest floor for a second. Leaves fall there too, thousands of them. No one turns them, no one waters them, no one manages the pile. And yet, they don't sit there for months like yours does. They disappear, quietly, completely, turning into dark, soft, living soil. So what's the difference? Why does your pile just sit there while the forest never seems to have this problem? Most people try to fix this by doing more turning, more watering, bigger piles. That feels logical. It is also why the pile keeps failing, because the problem isn't effort, and it isn't time. The problem is that the leaves never actually start breaking down. And once you see why, you can change that in a matter of days, not months. Here is the part most people never hear. You are not doing it wrong. You are just missing one step. Because the problem is not the leaves, and it is not the pile. It is how the system is being asked to work. Right now, you are treating leaves like they are already halfway to becoming soil, like they just need time, like they will slowly rot on their own if you wait long enough. But that is not how this actually works. Leaves don't break down just because they are sitting there. They break down when something activates them. And in your pile, that activation never really happens. So what you end up with is not compost. It is just a compressed stack of material, slowly getting wetter, slightly darker, but still structurally the same. That is why it feels heavy. That is why it smells off instead of rich. That is why weeks go by and nothing actually changes. You keep adding effort, but the system is still asleep. And this is where most people go in the wrong direction. They think, maybe I need to turn it more. Maybe I need to add something expensive. Maybe I just need more time. That feels logical. It is also why they stay stuck. Because the issue is not speed. The issue is that the process never truly starts. Once you understand that, everything changes. Because now you are not trying to force decomposition. You are trying to trigger it. And that shift matters. Because when the system is actually active, time compresses. What used to take months starts happening in days. And it doesn't come from more effort. It comes from one simple change in how the leaves are handled. A change that most people overlook because it looks too simple to matter. But it is the step that turns a dead pile into a living process. Let's slow this down for a second, because this is where everything clicks. Leaves don't fail because they're useless. They fail because they are locked. Each leaf is built like a thin sheet of structure. Fibers, cells, layers, all holding together what is inside. And what is inside is exactly what you want: carbon, energy, the raw material for soil. But here's the problem. That material is sealed in. Think of it like this. It's like trying to make tea, but never breaking the tea bag. You can pour water over it, You can wait all day. Nothing really happens because the inside never gets released. Leaves behave the same way. When they fall and pile up, they don't instantly open. They stack. They press together. They create layers that block air, block movement, and slow everything down. So instead of a living process, you get a stagnant one. Now, here's where most people misunderstand the system. They think decomposition is about time. It's not. It's about access. Microbes don't need months. They need contact. They need surface area. They need a way in. But in a pile of whole, intact leaves, that access is extremely limited. So the system slows to a crawl. In simple terms, you are trying to feed a system that cannot reach its food. And that is why everything feels stuck. Now, compare that to what happens in a forest. Leaves don't just sit flat and intact forever. They get broken, crushed, torn, softened by moisture, mixed with life already in the soil. The structure opens, and once it opens, everything accelerates. It's like taking that same tea bag and finally letting the water flow through it. Suddenly, the color spreads, the reaction starts, the system wakes up. That is the difference. Not better leaves, not more effort, access. And once you understand that, the solution becomes very simple. You don't wait for leaves to slowly break open. You make them release what's inside immediately. So instead of waiting, we change how the leaves arrive. We don't leave them dry. We don't leave them intact. We turn them into liquid first. That's the shift. Not new material, not more effort, a different state. Because the mistake was never the leaves. The mistake was the form. Right now, your pile is trying to break down from the outside in, slow, uneven, restricted. But when you change it into liquid, everything flips. Now the process works from the inside out. The structure softens, the fibers open, the energy inside the leaves starts to move, and suddenly the system that was asleep becomes active. Here is what that looks like in practice. You take your leaves, dry or slightly wet, it doesn't matter. You break them down. Not perfectly, just enough. By hand, with a shovel, even by stepping on them. Then you soak them completely. Not a sprinkle, not a light watering. You want them saturated, like a sponge that cannot hold any more water. At this point, something important starts happening. The outer structure begins to soften. The layers begin to separate. And instead of sitting as a pile, they start behaving like a medium. Now, if you want to push this further, this is where a simple addition changes everything. A small amount of mineral or ash, like the one you may already have from your previous system. Not a lot, just enough to shift the balance. Because now you are not just soaking leaves, you are creating a solution, a liquid environment where breakdown can actually happen. And once that environment exists, you are no longer waiting for decomposition, you are driving it. This is why the timeline changes. What used to sit for months starts collapsing in days. Not because of magic, not because of a secret ingredient, but because the system is finally able to work. Now, let's actually run this. Not as an idea, as something you can do today. Start simple. 1 bucket is enough. Cake your leaves. Break them down just a bit. You don't need perfection. You just don't want full, intact leaves stacked on top of each other. Now put them into a container, a bucket, a bin, even a cut barrel. Then add water. And this part matters. Don't just wet the surface. Don't just spray it. Fill it until the leaves are fully submerged. You are not watering, you are soaking. Think of it like this. If the leaves are floating dry at the top, nothing has started yet. If they sink, soften, and begin to collapse, now the system is waking up. If you want to push it further, add a small amount of ash or mineral. Just a handful for a bucket, not more. More is not better here. Now leave it, but don't walk away completely. This system doesn't ask for much, but it does ask for rhythm. Come back the next day. Stir it. Press it down. Let the water move through everything. That's it. No machines, no turning piles, no complicated setup. Just soak, press, stir, wait. Now here's how you know it's working. You don't need tools. You don't need measurements. You just need to pay attention. First, the smell. If it smells sharp, sour, or harsh, it's not ready. It's still unbalanced. If it smells deep, earthy, slightly sweet, you're getting close. That's the shift. Second, the texture. Take a handful. If it still feels stiff, separate, and papery, it hasn't opened yet. If it feels soft, heavy, almost like soaked cardboard breaking apart, now the structure is collapsing. That's what you want. Third, the color. Look at the water. If it's still clear or light, nothing much has been released. If it turns dark, almost like weak tea or coffee, that means the inside of the leaves is finally coming out. That is your signal. That is when the system is active. Now timing matters. In warm conditions, this can happen fast, sometimes within 2 to 3 days. In colder weather, it takes longer, but the process is the same. You are not waiting blindly anymore. You are watching for signals. And when those signals are there, you can use it. Pour it onto soil. Mix it into beds. Spread the softened material. Now, instead of dry leaves sitting on top, you have something that actually integrates. But this is where people get carried away. This system is powerful, but it has limits. This is not a miracle fix for everything. If you dump it too strong, you can overwhelm young plants. If you use too much ash, you can shift the balance too far. So keep it simple. Keep it light. You are not forcing growth. You are supporting a process. And that difference matters. Picture this. It's early morning. The air is still cold. You step outside with your coffee in your hand, and instead of that same old pile sitting there, something has changed. You reach into the container. What used to be dry, stiff leaves is now dark, soft, heavy in a different way. Not dead weight, living weight. It breaks apart in your hand, not like paper, not like waste, like soil. There's a smell to it now. Not sour, not sharp, earthy, warm, almost sweet. And when you spread it, it doesn't just sit on top anymore. It blends. It disappears into the ground. And for the first time, it actually feels like something is happening. Not weeks from now, not eventually, now. That's the shift. You didn't wait longer, you didn't work harder, you changed how the system starts. And once it starts correctly, everything else follows. Because this was never about compost. It was about access, about taking something that looks finished and realizing it was just locked. And once you unlock it, you stop relying on time to fix things. You start understanding how to move systems forward. That's what this really gives you. Not just faster soil, control. And control doesn't mean forcing nature. It means working with it at the point where it actually responds. But don't overdo this. You don't need to rebuild your whole garden this weekend. That's how people burn out. Start with one bucket. Watch it. Smell it. Learn what ready actually feels like. Once you see it once, you won't unsee it again. And suddenly, those piles of leaves you used to ignore start looking like stored potential, not waste, fuel. If you try this, pay attention to what changes first. The smell, the texture, the speed. And when it clicks, come back and tell me what you noticed. Because once you understand this step, a lot of other things start making more sense.